This example is to solve the triangle when we know that side A is 12 centimeters, B is 18 centimeters, and C is 8 centimeters. So I've constructed a triangle here that represents the given situation. We need to solve it by finding the measure of angles A, B, and C. As a rule of thumb, you always want to start by finding the angle opposite the longest side. So in this case, B is our longest side, so angle B should be the largest angle, so we're going to start by finding that. If you look at the law of cosines, the one that involves angle B is of this form. B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cosine B. So we can plug in what we know. B is 18, so we have 18 squared is equal to A is 12 squared plus C is 8 squared minus 2 times 12 times 8 times cosine B. And certainly there's a variation of the law of cosines where the angle is already isolated, but it doesn't really matter. I generally just memorize one form of it and then work from there. So we need to just try to simplify this as much as possible and get cosine B on a side by itself. So we start by finding what 18 squared is, which is 324, and that's equal to 144 plus 64 minus, now if we say 2 times 12 times 8, we're going to get 192 times cosine B. So on the right side we can combine 144 plus 64, that's 208 minus 192 times cosine B. So now we subtract 208 from both sides to get 116 is equal to negative 192 times cosine B. And now if we divide both sides by negative 192, we get negative 0.6042 is equal to cosine B. So think about what that means. Cosine is negative in which quadrants? Right, quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. So remember, we're talking about triangles which can only have angle measures between 0 and 180. So and not including those. So we're looking at a measure of an angle which is in quadrant 2, which means that this angle is going to be obtuse or greater than 90 degrees. Just as a rule of thumb, you can check your work on that. So we need to use a cosine inverse, and you want to make sure that your mode on your calculator is in degree mode first. And if we do the inverse of negative 0.6042, I actually keep that value stored in my calculator, the one that was not rounded off, so that I get it more precise. I would find that the angle B is 127.2 degrees. Okay. So now we know the measure of angle B. It's 127.2 degrees. So now we need to find measures A and C. There's really only one more thing to do. We just need to find one of those angles because the last angle is the sum of the two subtracted from the 180 degrees. So actually at this point now you can use the law of cosines to solve for one of the angles. So let's just solve for angle A. The law of sines says that we have what sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. So we have sine A divided by 12 is equal to the sine of 127.2 degrees over 18. So we can multiply by 12 on each side to get 12 times sine of 127.2 degrees over 18. Now, using your calculator to compute that value, gives us that sine A is equal to 0.53102. Now we can use the inverse sine function to find that our angle A is 32.1 degrees. So to find angle C now, C is 180 minus the measure of angle B minus the measure of angle A. So if we enter 180 minus 127.2 minus 32.1, we find that the measure of angle C is 20.7 degrees.